And then, again, when it comes to this kind of stuff, I can slice through it, or I can just get the chopping thing going. If I don't like the chop, I can do slicing with this.
Yeah, that slice is wonderful.
So here, this is one thing that when people bring this style of knife in all the time, and I can tell who doesn't know how to use it because it's completely dull right here from here to here, and it's razor sharp back here, which tells me people are using it like this. And that's not how this knife is really supposed to be used. That's kind of a waste of this knife.
You really get more control if you use the heel.
You have a lot, right, exactly. You have a lot more
It's a
control
little intimidating
if you
if
use
you've
the
never
heel.
done it.
Is it really?
It
That's
is.
to me what it looks like. I mean, I'm not a
Yeah, but
cook,
you
so.
don't want to cut yourself.
But no, the other one, should you use the heel too, or does it matter?
Yep, no, the other one you use the heel, and again, the reason why is if you look at it, the further up the blade is, look how
Okay.
high I have to lift the knife
Yeah,
to get to it.
right.
Versus,
I'm gonna remember that.
I have a lot less that can go wrong when I'm using it back here.
A lot of chefs will even move their hands up even further
Really?
Well, yeah.
to get more control.
A lot of chefs are trained to hold the blade.
Oh,
Our
they
knives,
are?
our knives are designed to be held by the handle. Yeah, a lot of
Well,
chefs.
I
Oh, I
consult
know
this.
Yeah, so that's why you see people on TV holding the blade.
Oh, okay.
I don't like to do that because it just,
Because they're using their knuckles going real quick.
Yeah.
yeah, but ours can be held comfortably like that. It's just they're designed to be held by the
So
handle.
which one do you have? What one did she have? This one?
She said she got this one. This is the one you said you got, right?
Yeah, I got that
Same
one, yeah.
token. All right, let me show you over here. One of the things, you can switch sides. You guys want to go over there? How are you today? Welcome back. So I hear a lot of people tell me that they use these chopping knives for things like watermelon and squash and hard stuff. And the problem with that, I see people bring them in and sometimes they're chipped and cracked. And the reason why is because these knives, this has what's called a hollow grind. So they take the steel and they grind out extremely thin, so that when I'm chopping with it, which is again primarily what this knife is designed for, it's not shooting your carrots across the table on you because the steel's so thick. You had that happen before where you're slicing a carrot and it goes flying across the table, right? The way that they thin this out, it prevents that from happening. But when you're cutting something super hard like a watermelon or squash, and there's going to be lateral pressure, it's not designed to handle that heft of something that's this hard. It can do it, and it doesn't always break, don't get me wrong, but over time, it's not the best tool to use. The tool to use for stuff that's really, really hard, there's two that I recommend. One is the butcher's knife, and this one's designed the opposite of what I just explained. This one actually gets thicker as it goes up. So this has a really thick blade, and it's designed like a wedge. So if I'm cutting something like a watermelon, which I'll do in a second, I'm just going to stab it and roll the watermelon. It'll split it right down the middle. So it's so easy to use for really, really hard stuff. It'll cut through squash, turnips, frozen food. I can cut through frozen solid meat with it. Anything that's chicken bones, separating the legs and all that kind of stuff, it'll pop and it'll handle all of that heft. The other one that I use for a lot of that kind of stuff is the Hardy slicer. This is shaped like the chopping knife, but it has Cutco's double D or serrated edge, people call it. But this has that utility edge. It's just going to cut and cut and cut and cut and cut. This also is a little bit thicker, so it can handle some of that extra stress. But I love this knife. People ask me all the time, what's my favorite knife? This is, if I could only have one knife, this would be it by far and away. How many of you guys have one of these, by the way? Several of you? I know you. It's called the Hardy slicer. So stuff like this that's really just hard to cut, it just goes right through. So pineapple, cantaloupe, and I can cut into nice little slices.
How much is that?
This one I think is $136. And we'll go through some of the specials and offers here in a little bit, but if I'm doing something like this, where again, normally pineapple is not the easiest thing to cut. This just goes through it like it's nothing.
Then we got dessert.
That's right. I actually had pies that I made and then dropped them, so they were full of glass. I didn't figure you guys would want them. I made some of our pie in the jars for you guys to sample, and on this morning I dropped them.
Oh gosh, I bet you were so upset.
I was, and then I bought more everything except for the crust, so I couldn't make them again. I even brought my little toaster oven to make more today, but oh well, live and learn. Next time I'm using tin, so if I drop it, it'll just squish. So if you guys want to play with this, I'll have them, no worries. So if you guys want to play with some of that, you'll have some of that. Stuff like a cantaloupe. Again, this thing is awesome. I can just put it in here a little bit and just kind of turn it, and it just cuts right through.
How about this one?
I can then take, yeah, that one too. I like the Hardy slicer for a lot of stuff. This, if I was going to split it, it'll again, it's even easier to use with this thing, because this thing just splits it right down the middle. So one of the many uses for your ice cream scoop is to do stuff like this. So not only is it great for ice cream, but it's great for seeding things. You can use it for cleaning out pumpkins, and in that time of year when you're doing jack-o'-lanterns. You can use it for just melon balling if you want big melon balls.
Do you have a melon ball that's smaller than that?
We don't. So you got big melon balls when you use that bad boy. But with this, the Hardy slicer again is the one that I use for a lot of this kind of stuff. One of the things that's my favorite about this knife, if I was using this knife is long enough, but eventually you see how it's thin and tapered, so I have to bring my hand all the way down to the cutting surface to get through there. This knife is wonderful because of the thickness of the blade, because my hand never gets into the muck or in the way of anything. So this thing is just spectacular.
You say that'll work on frozen meat?
This, if I was cutting frozen meat, this is the one that I would use. And again, it's not going to cut it like butter, don't get me wrong, but it will definitely go through it.
That's better than Hardy slicer.
For frozen, I would definitely use the butcher over the Hardy slicer, yes. The Hardy slicer, I can eventually saw through it, but it's not going to be nearly as
You
effective.
can use that with celery.
You can use it. This is not really, although it looks like a chopping knife, this is more of a slicing knife. So the chopping knives are just kind of going up and down, but because this one has that other unique edge that we make, it doesn't have the same ability to do that. Unless it's something that's kind of hard like an apple, I can maybe do that a little bit. But then you've got something like a watermelon. So this is where the butcher's knife really comes in handy. So watch this. All you have to do is just put it in there and literally just spin it, and it breaks it right in half. You don't have to fight it at all. You don't have to mess with it at all. And then if you want to, that's typically, I can use this one or the Hardy slicer for this part. A lot of times I use the Hardy slicer if I get a little watermelon and it just goes to town. But this one of the cool things about this is, again, once it gets in there, it's just going to split. So once you get it into break the skin, it just keeps going.
How much is that now?
113? 118? So a cool way to cut a watermelon, instead of taking all the guts out and doing all that, so if you're cutting it for a party, cut it like that, line-wise, and then turn sideways and do it the same the other direction. Yep.
Oh my goodness.
And then when people go to grab it,
Oh,
you
I
got,
love that.
isn't that awesome? And there's no mess. You could actually just leave
You
it like
just
that
leave
in
it
a
just
bowl,
like that.
and people can just come and grab any piece they want.
Cool.
And Ken, I have to tell you, I did that recently for a gathering.
Yeah?
Everybody loved it.
It's impressive, and it seems a lot harder than it is. It's not hard at all. You just cut it one way, and then turn it, and then cut it the other way. Yep. So instead of having big huge smiles that get all over your face, you just have little sticks that you can grab as many as you want.
Or you could just have it in your refrigerator for, you know,
Sure.
you and your husband or whoever, you know, because it's
Or
watermelon
not my
season and
husband,
I've been
but yeah,
cutting it,
whoever.
yeah, well, I'm sorry. But I've been cutting like the other way, and that's really good. Yeah, because you don't have to go all the way down to the, you know what I mean? If you cut it the other way, it gets in your face, you know, and everything this way, you know, you just like,
Yep.
You like that better?
that's a lot
And then if you want
neater.
to trim up the little places you can for little extra bites if you'd like.
You like that better than?
So yeah, this thing,
Now, that's the same, that's the knife that you like the best, Ken, or is this a different knife?
this is the butcher's knife. This is the one that I like the best. This,
Okay, but that one, why would you use, because this one would cut the watermelon better, or what would this butcher knife do?
this one is more versatile. So if I was going to get one of these two, it really would depend on how often I do big stuff like this. Because with this one, I can still do squash. I can still do all this other harder stuff. It's just not as big. So specifically for watermelon, I like this one just because it's longer and it's a little bit thicker.
Move your hands a little closer to that. more of a heel here, so you can do tougher stuff.
That as well.
Oh, yeah, okay.
This is the Hardy slicer. Yep. So and then again, things like squash, if I was gonna saw through it, I can just use this to cut through it like
Especially
this.
that squash right there.
So that, or again, if I'm cutting a butternut squash and breaking it down, the easiest way to do it is just to stab it like this, and again, just kind of force it down. And you see how the tool just kind of forces its way through. Turn it around. Do the same thing.
You might want to shave the end of it so it's stable.
Well, yeah, and well, that's the point, is getting it down to now this way, where now it's flat, now I can do whatever I want to. So, cutting it in half, or yeah, shaving it, you can do that too, like I showed you over there, just so it's not rolling around. But the idea is to use these bigger, heavier, dutier knives to get it into more manageable.
That's tough to cut.
Ice cream scoop works, absolutely, yeah. So this stuff, the product is really designed, the right tool for the right job is kind of how we broke everything down. Go for it. That's what it's
As
doing.
good as it looks, how you say.
And then one other thing I'll show you real quick.
You'll like it.
Did I pick a good one?
Soaked it in vodka. I do.
I was watching something on TV the other day. To pick a good watermelon, what they said was, the darker the better, because that means it's more ripe. The more ripe, the more sweet. And check out for the yellow spot where it sits, the smaller that is, the better too. If you got a big, huge yellow spot, you didn't get a lot of, you've got a lot of undeveloped melon in there.
Now, my dad always said you go down and you tap it, and if it sounds hollow, it's right, more ripe than the
There
other
could be
ones.
some validity
They
to that,
go
but I don't
very
know.
well.
I'm not gonna
Well,
say your dad was
I'm
wrong.
old and he was even older, so he's been gone a long time.
So what I'm going to do real quick is also just show you how our new cookware works. It So this cookware that we just started selling a few months ago is called American Kitchen, and it's made by Regalware, who's been making cookware for over 100 years. And this is the line of cookware that they say, in their opinion, is the best cookware that they make across the board for no matter how you cook or who you are. It's not the most expensive and it's not the fanciest that they make, but in their opinion it is the best stuff. This material that they have on the nonstick is called Eterna. It's called Eterna, which kind of mimics cast iron. It doesn't have the chemical properties, it doesn't put the PFOAs up into the air. It's not like Teflon at all. It's metal utensil safe, although they say it's better not just like anything else. It's not as good to use metal. But the non-stick, even if it scratches, it doesn't stop working. So with this, it's amazing how much I use this. I haven't used non-stick pans in like 20 years when I started researching Teflon and found out how gross and chemicals and all that kind of stuff. I just quit using it. And then this stuff came out and I was in love immediately. You can make eggs with no butter or oil. Fried eggs, scrambled eggs, whatever you want to do. And with this, they have a 3-ply steel. The bottom layer is magnetic stainless, which means it'll work on any kind of stove, including induction with the magnets. The middle layer is aluminum, which acts as a heat conductor and spreads the heat out. And instead of, you guys probably have seen pans that have extra layers just on the bottom. What that really does is just amplifies the heat straight up. Our extra layers are all the way through, so no matter what you're doing, it's going to heat it from all the different angles. And then the top layer is either a regular 1810 stainless, or in this case the Eterna, the non-stick. They have a lifetime warranty, they're made in the USA. These are oven safe even up to 400 degrees, so if you want to put them in the oven, which is unique with non-stick, you're not really supposed to put non-stick stuff in the oven most of the time. So with these, they're just really nice pans to be able to use for anything you want to cook in. There's a whole line of pans over there. The fry pans have been really, really popular.
And what if you wanted a brown onion? Somebody told me you had to do it in
Do it in a stainless pan?
no.
No.
Well, not just whatever.
Cast iron?
Cast iron.
No, you can brown onions in here. We got some onions, we can brown them.
No,
in a little
that's
bit if you want.
okay. Okay, that's okay.
Yeah, so yeah, you can brown onions. I mean, these will brown here in a second. Yeah, I just put a little bit of butter.
Full of fried apples.
Yep, just put a little bit of butter. I'm going to throw some. The cast iron does rust. This doesn't rust. Put a little brown sugar in there. Yeah, just a little flavor. And the apples need to cook down a little bit more and get the juice out of there. Sprinkle a little cinnamon.
You like that, huh?
Yeah, it's guaranteed. I beat them up.
That's a guarantee. How long has the company been around?
How long are they guaranteed?
How long will it be around?
It's a lifetime warranty, so lifetime warranty. And it's a manufacturer's warranty. If you take a knife and scratch the heck out of this thing, they're not going to give you it. So if it's normal use, it's manufacturer warranty. So
What's normal use?
don't play baseball with it.
What's normal use to get it?
Well, normal use would be anything that you're cooking, but yeah, I mean, don't take a knife to it. They're not going to replace it for that kind of stuff. They're going to replace it for normal wear and tear. If the handle breaks, if the pan falls, if the pan breaks, if anything cracks, or any of that kind of stuff.
What kind of steel is the handle made of?
The handles, yeah, the handles, that's another nice thing. And the way that they have it riveted, it's very minimal. It's vented, and then they have a higher content of stainless. Hey guys, they have a higher content of stainless, so it doesn't get hot as much. Full regular stainless doesn't conduct heat as well. So they put more stainless in the handle, so it doesn't get hot unless you put it right over the heat or in the oven.
How much is one?
But just a nice little, it's a quick little simple snack you can make. Real simple, and again, you notice how nothing's sticking. I just put a little tiny bit of butter in here, and without the butter, it wouldn't have turned out into caramel, but it would have still been good. It smelled good. The pans are $49.59 and $69.99 for the 8, 10, and 12 inch. So they're not very expensive. Yeah, I could easily spend that at Walmart and it would last me 6 months. So that's what's beauty about these things.
And it can go in the oven, you're saying?
Yep, absolutely.
The company's been around for how long?
This company, Regalware, has been around for over 100 years. They've been making cookware forever. Longer than we've been making knives.
That's real version?
All right, we still have about 20 minutes before we do the giveaways at 6. But real quickly, just so you guys know, I'll review the offers for tonight. I know most of you guys have that sheet in your hand. So the offers we have for tonight, for those of you guys that are interested in getting some stuff and adding to your collection, we've got buy 3, get the 4th free with all Cutco stuff, so it doesn't matter what it is. In the catalog, if you guys got the catalog, it's very limited with what you can do the deals with. None of the Santoku stuff, the cheese knives, none of the gadgets, none of that stuff you can do buy 3, get the 4th free. Here in the store for this event, we can do any of the stuff for this event tonight. So anything that's not on sale in the catalog, we can still do buy 3, get the 4th free. We can also do with any 2 kitchen knives or scissors, we have the ice cream scoop as a bonus item. So if you don't have one of those things yet, that thing's amazing. So with any 2 knives, we can do a gadget free, specifically the ice cream scoop. If you already have an ice cream scoop and there's 2 knives you want, we'll figure something else out that we can work for you. We also have all the sets are on sale. The red squares are the 20 to 25% off. This is the lowest price they're going to be at for the rest of the year. So if you have somebody that you're looking to buy a gift for a wedding or Christmas, and you're looking to get a set, if you get it now, it's going to be the cheapest it'll ever be. We can also break things up into 5 payments, interest-free, and by November everything would be paid off, so you don't have to get hammered with bills in November, December, and January. Which is nice. Yeah, so we also have a variety of newer products. Actually, let me show you these guys. How many of you guys have seen these lock and locks? Have you guys ever heard of these? These things are awesome. They seal. So it has a silicone seal, so they're waterproof. They seal water in and they seal smells in. So if you ever put garlic chicken in your fridge and everything smells and tastes like garlic after 2 days, that doesn't happen anymore with these because it seals all the scents and everything. They're microwave safe, they're dishwasher safe. Yes, they're BPA free. They have high dome lids. So normally when you put food in here, you then put the lid on and sometimes it swishes over. The lid sits on top. So it sits on top and it seals. So you've got extra room. And what's awesome about these is all of them fit inside themselves for storage with the lids. So I never have to go searching for my lids anymore. I also only have to have this much room for storage because everything fits inside. When I go to my mom and dad's house and we have family stuff, they cook, and then we eat, and then we leave, and they have all this extra food all the time. So several years ago, they're like, start taking it. You got to take this stuff. We can't eat it all. So we started stealing all their containers, which they got mad at really quickly. Some of you can relate to that, right? So now I just bring this to mom and dad's house every time we have a gathering. I have 5 dishes, whatever I need. I got plenty of stuff to take home. I don't use them all the time, but I've got whatever sizes I need, including that little one, which I can put a couple of deviled eggs in. It doesn't get all squishy all over everything. These things are just awesome. They're $29.99. We have red and green, and these are limited. This is another product, kind of like the Temptations, that they quit making. We bought what they have left, and when we sell out of them, that's it. So these things are really, really nice. These are people have been buying them for Christmas gifts and all kinds of stuff already because they are limited.
And they dishwasher safe?
They're dishwasher safe and they're microwave safe. Yeah, these things are absolutely awesome. We've got the Vitamix, which if you guys haven't, how many of you guys have a Vitamix, by the way? I know a bunch.